Come and sing in Chattanooga.
Rodney Hicks, Clarence Norris.
Josh Breckenridge, Olin Montgomery.
Christian Dante White, Charlie Weems.
Derek Kobe, Andy Wright.
Come and sing in Chattanooga.
Julius Thomas III, Roy Wright.
James T. Lane, Ozzie Powell.
Sharon Washington, the lady.
Colman Domingo, Mr. Bones.
John Cullum, Interlocutor.
E. Clayton Cornelius.
Clinton Roan.
On the Southern Railroad line.
Hello, I'm Susan Stroman, and I'm the director and choreographer of the Scottsboro Boys, the musical. It's odd that it's 10 years because the show is so present in my life. Someone always asks me about it, or it's in interviews, or, you know, and I know for John Kander and Tommy Thompson and myself, it's always very, very present. And it was just one of those very special things for all of us to come together and tell an important story. You know, when Kander and Ed wanted to do this, they wanted to do a true story, a historical story. And Tommy researched all the trials in America and came back with the Scottsboro Boys, which was one of the most important trials of all because it changed the judicial system and inspired civil rights. So we really jumped on it, and Kander and Ed, it just poured out of them.
I was the writer of the Scottsboro Boys. I think what made this show such an incredible experience for everyone was that spirit of collaboration. For me, it was the collaboration, of course, with John Kander, Susan Stroman, and Fred Ebb, but it was really about that collaboration with all of the actors. When we were in rehearsal, that door would shut, we would arrive, we would get to work. If you had an idea, you shared it. If you had a thought, everyone was there to hear it. I think it was because we felt such a responsibility, everyone, to tell that story.
10 years since we told that story. And what I love about it is that the experience made us all really close. If we were going to tell that story, we were going to tell it right.
And we did tell it right every single night, 8 times a week. This show, it's scary how relative it is to today, right? Black lives do matter. They do. Some of the things that go on in the show are not too far off from what's going on nowadays.
This was something greater than I think any of us could ever have imagined. This was history that is so important in amplifying the Black experience, amplifying those voices that might have been lost in history had we not created this musical together.
The Scottsboro Boys was like a salve on my soul to step into the shoes of Ozzie Powell, mended spaces and places inside of me, and I will forever be grateful for that.
Scottsboro Boys was a surprising play for me. I had no idea when I first considered doing the show that I would be the only white person in a cast of extremely talented Black performers.
We had the 9 men who were all young, hungry, triple threats in our own rights, led by this incredible cast of veterans like John Cullum, who every word out of his mouth was a masterclass, and Colman Domingo, who I affectionately call the man of 1,000 characters, and then Sharon Washington, this Shakespearean-trained actor who created one of the most beautiful physical performances I think I've ever seen.
I was given this extraordinary opportunity to create the lady. She is all of the invisible women of the civil rights movement who were behind the scenes. Creating that came out of conversations with Stroman, conversations with Tommy, their generosity in letting me as an artist, as a collaborator, as another creative, explore the possibilities of this role. I mean, how many times are you given that opportunity to create an iconic character?
I did an interview the other day, and the interviewer asked me about the significance of the Scottsboro Boys in my life. I always say that it's changed my career in the way of making sure that it was important for me to be an activist as well with my work. To know that art can truly be sustainable and can change lives. To know that we can actually have an impact.
I think that the production was misunderstood before we started. In fact, we were picketed by a group of people that thought we were anti-black people. And we got them to come see the show, and they realized it was exactly backwards from what they thought.
It was an interesting, if not uncomfortable, experience to cross picket lines every day to go to work. And we started the show from the back of the house. That meant that the only thing between us was a little bit of glass where they would be screaming at us and, waving their picket signs. And they saw that we had a creative team that wasn't African American, that didn't look like them, and they couldn't fathom that they would handle this subject matter with the kid gloves that it needed, but that wasn't the case.
They were so protective of the piece because they wanted to do it correctly and honestly. There was one day we sat down with Stro and she says, I don't know what it is to be a black human being. It's your show. I want you guys to take it. And I remember that day being like, oh my God, thank you.
Fred brought up the point that they were called the Scottsboro Boys, like they were a vocal group or something. Both Kander and Neb wanted to make sure that at the end of this musical, we saw those 9 guys as individuals, as each life mattered.
Haywood Patterson, Eugene Williams, Andy Wright, Roy Wright, Ozzie Powell, Clarence Norris, Charlie Weems, Olin Montgomery, and Willie Roberson. They were the Scottsboro Boys, and they were the reason why we did this show.
I don't know, but maybe times will turn. I pray so. Maybe someday I'll get lucky. Someone's gonna say, all right, son, take the train and go back home.
I was just 12 years old when I had the honor and privilege to join the cast of the Scottsboro Boys. Getting to share the historical legacy and storytelling masterpiece of the show made an impact on my professional, but also my personal life as well.
The Scottsboro Boys moved me from the front of the classroom to the pages of the history books. Literally a painful chapter in our history, but at the same time, there are memories that are painful, that without which we really can't navigate our way forward.
I think our show was ahead of its time, and I think it resonated with people in a special, special way that only good art can.
I really respected it and I appreciated it because it wasn't just a throwaway show. It was about something important.
Clarence Norris's daughter and grandson came to see the show. Her words to me and to all of us was that her father would be proud.
Well, this show was the absolute joy of my career and my life. Just thinking about it brings back so many emotions. God, it's been 10 years and it's insane.
It was a unique way of storytelling, and to this day, I use that in the way I tell my stories. Even if people don't receive it the way I'm giving it, if I'm truthful, I know that I'm giving the best that I can, that is my true gift as an artist.
There are so many incredible visuals that I remember, like James T. Lane just flying through the air. Oh, Colman, Domingo, and Forrest playing the N-Men. Josh Henry singing Home. That song, when Kander first played that song, it made the hair on my arms stand up. All those things really stay so strong in my memory. And don't tell the others, but this is the favorite show. This is the show we love the most. We were nominated for 12 Tony Awards and didn't win any. But all of a sudden, the governor of Alabama was hearing all about this, and he posthumously pardoned the Scottsboro Boys in 2013. And when that happened, we happened to be doing the show at the Young Vic in London. So we quickly added a projection across the back. And at the very end, when the boys took their bow and stood up, across the back said, after 80 years, the Scottsboro Boys were posthumously pardoned by the governor of Alabama on November 21st, 2013. And you heard an audible gasp from the audience and a huge round of applause when they were realizing that they happened to be in the theater that night when that happened on that day. And seeing that happen that night, that's more important to me than any 12 elusive Tony Awards.
Got up in the morning when my sleep was done, and I felt that cheery Chattanooga sun. And I thank the Lord above that I was still alive as I waited for the 6:05. Come and sing Chattanooga. Then it chug it in, and I said, there you are, as I scrambled on the old boxcar. Then I settled back, believing that the world was fine. I was traveling on the southern line. Come and see Chattanooga.
Here now, I'm gonna see the world
on the Southern Railroad line.
And ain't no finer way to travel.
Now you can take your Viento, and you can take your Santa Fe, and you can take your old Rock Island line
and throw them all away.
And if the Pennsylvania calls, just say you want your money back. And if the New York Central's on the phone,
tell them they're way off the track. Come and sing Chattanooga, Chattanooga. I said we're coming and sing Chattanooga on the Southern Railroad line, on the Southern Railroad line.
Come on, boys, now one more time.
Now you can take your piano, and you can take your Santa Fe,
and you can take your old Rock Island line
and throw them all away.
And if the Pennsylvania calls,
just say you want your money back.
And if the New York Central's on the phone,
tell them they're way off the track.
Faraway places, they are in my bones. I know all the states, southeast of Georgia, down to Pensacola, north of Knoxville, west of Arkansas, and straight on to Shreveport. I know the train schedules, when the freights leave, when they arrive. I can light a buck in the wind on top of a moving boxcar. I am free, I am free, I am free.
There ain't a soul can hold me back, 'cause I am just as free as air. As long as I got legs and trains got wheels, I could have ride me anywhere.
And if the Lord above comes down and asks you where the hell I am, just answer no one knows where Haywood goes, 'cause I'm a boxcar baby lamb.
Come and sing Chattanooga, come and sing Chattanooga on the Southern Railroad, on the Southern Rail, on the Southern Railroad line. Shout, let it be celebrated. Stand and suck your tambourines. Blues have been annihilated, blown to smithereens. When I thought I'd meet my maker, when they said you're gonna fry.